start with a bit of a history because it's not a question that everybody or all the countries know India now because we are the economic power. I wouldn't dare to use the word rising economic power. It is an economic power right now. But I'll go back a little bit on the history to tell you what India has given to the world, which I think not many of you present in this room know about. If you know about it, my apologies, I'm just repeating it once again. I will start with the most important thing, which is number 0. Yes, number 0 was given by an Indian, Aryabhat, he invented, so we can count today. Number system was developed by Bhaskara, again an Indian. So it was done back in the 7th century. The value of P was calculated by Bodhyan, another Indian, who actually explained the Pythagorean theory long before the European mathematician got hold of it. The world's first university, Takshila, was established in India in 7th century. The world's first residential university, Nalanda, was established in 427 with 20,000 students and 2,000 teachers. Indians invented also the science of astronomy in the Gupta period. Surya Siddhartha, Aryabhat, they came to the theory that the earth is a sphere which actually round in own axis it moves. In the 5th century, Bhaskaracharya calculated the time taken by earth to orbit the sun, which is exactly 365 days, 0.25. If you go on Google today, it's written that NASA has calculated that time. So let me tell you, that was calculated by the Indian before. Ayurveda, we all know about it. It's from the 5000 BC, and today it's a household name. People are visiting the spas which are having Ayurveda because it has a healing power. According to the Gemological Institute of America, until 1896, India was the only source of diamond to the world. The ancient text of Kama Sutra was written by the Indian Vatsyayan and later brought to Europe by Richard Burton, the Orientalist. I especially didn't put any picture of that to have the full concentration of the audience.
They can try on their own.
Again, the Patanjali about yoga, which is well known in Europe, all over the world, is from India, 150 BCE. Swastika, now that's a controversial thing in Europe, but swastika is actually a religious symbol in India, which dates back to the Indus civilization. Unfortunately, it was misused by the Nazis in Europe. Guru, the word guru actually means a master, the spiritual leader, or the one who shows you the path. Today, it's a common word used in the business. Chess was invented in India in the Gupta Empire. Indian martial arts goes back to 5000 BCE. And not to forget about Bollywood, which started its career in 1913. Yes, today is the biggest film industry, producing more than 1,200 films. I will quote here Albert Einstein, who said that actually the Indians gave the world how to calculate so we can make all the important inventions, theories, or the calculations today. Now I'll come a little bit to the historical relations between the India and Poland, which is not of today. It dates back to the 15th century, when the Polish writers, soldiers, used to travel to India to learn about the civilization, the philosophy of life and culture. Sanskrit, which is called the master of all the languages, which is one of the most important things if it comes to a software. The classic Sanskrit books were translated in 19th century into the Polish language, and that was first of its kind which was distributed in Europe. A chair of the Sanskrit language was established in 1893 in Jagiellonian University in Krakow, and later on the study and the research on the Indian various languages were in the University of Warsaw, Wrocław and Poznan. So ladies and gentlemen, that was a bit of the history which I wanted to give it to you. Now I would like to touch the subject about the India and the Poland post Second World War. Diplomatic relations between India and Poland started back in 1954. At that time, both the countries were the natural partners because we had one friend in common, Soviet Russia. In 1957, first Indian embassy was established in Warsaw. And of course, till date, even after '89 when there was a change in Poland, the relations between the two countries are at a good level. Economic ties. It has grown almost 12 times since 1992. I'm using the 1992 because after '89 when the changes came to Poland, economic reforms were there, things changed. Before that, of course, there was a trade between the two countries, but it was mostly on the bilateral basis because that was another era. Today, we have trade over $1 billion US. There are a lot of Indian investments in Poland. There are more than 35 serious companies. When I use the word serious companies, it's companies like Tata Consultancy, HCL, ArcelorMittal, although it is not an Indian company, but the origin is Indian. Indian companies are giving jobs to Polish, well over 6,000 in Poland. The most important aspect after the economic ties is between India and Poland is defense. In 2003, there was an agreement signed where India invested heavily and bought the armament goods from Poland worth $600 billion US. And I must say here, a few days back, another agreement was signed between India and Poland for the next round of exchange or the purchase from the Polish side. That means that India is going to buy for more than $257 million US armaments from Poland. Now I would like to touch the subject about the Indian immigration to Poland. As you know, it's all started after '89. I would say that's a common year actually, '89, 1990, because if we see the changes what happened in Poland, economic reforms, the system changed, sort of similar happened in India also. There was an economic change. India opened its doors to the foreign investments. That was about natural at that time when India was looking for the partners also. And seeing the changes into Poland, I would say it was not the government of India first, but the individuals who saw those changes, who saw the prospects for the Indian goods and could feel the sense of business. It was back in 1990 when the influx of Indian immigration started to Poland. Today we have not more than 4,000 Indians all over Poland. This includes mostly of the business community who are having their own businesses here. It also comprises of the expats who are working for the various companies. It's also comprised of the IT engineers, and we should not forget it also comprised of the students, because there's a big influx of the students to the Polish universities since last 3 years. Now the sector specialization where the Indians are specialized in Poland are the IT, of course. We have the big IT houses. There are the small companies also, small entrepreneurs who are giving the regular services, not only to the Polish companies, but to the Americans being here in Poland. Textiles, that's the biggest business Indians are right now in Poland. Electronic consumer goods, and above all, hospitality services. I think Indian hospitality services, which means the restaurants and the Bollywood, of course, has found a way to the heart of Poles. So today I can say the Poles regard Indians and India very warmly thanks to these two things. Concentration of the Indian immigration. Of course, since 1990, it all started, and the first Indians started adapting Warsaw as their home. Later, it went on to the nearby city Łódź, which is 120 kilometers. Simple reason because that was and is a textile city of Poland. Then we have Kraków, where we have a lot of IT companies and the students. We have Wrocław, where we again have the IT companies where the professionals are working. And we have Białystok, where we have a lot of students who are either on the exchange course or on the private studies to Poland. I would touch the subject of that we feel at home. Why Indians actually chose Poland. I give you the one example for sure. When they saw the changes are there is a need of a business and they can do something on that, they chose that. But the second most important thing was also the values. As you know, in India, we have the family values, we are very religious, and these two values we could find in Poland, in Polish people also. And I can say that because I'm here for last 22 years and I have not seen any changes. Poles are still very religious, they're very family oriented, and they keep their family values. And that's one of the most important things also which made a difference for the Indians to choose. Although it's difficult, I must say, because you have to learn the language. For Indians, it's always easier to the countries where the English is the mother language of the country. Take the example of UK, US, Australia. But still it's growing. Like I said, we are only little above 4,000, but we do feel at home. We have achieved a lot in Poland. We have our own associations. We are interacting with the Polish government on the regular basis. We are having our own festivals. We are making sure that we are having Poles with us so they can learn about India, they can learn about the Indian people, which really helps them to understand the country and to do the business with. We feel at home, and I want to show you now a few of the pictures. It all started in 1990. There was no Indian temple or Indian religious place, so we used ISKCON temple in Warsaw as our own temple, which we do till today. In 2004, when the community also grew and we saw the need, we established the first Sikh temple, Gurudwara. We have services every Sunday. It's not only for the Sikh. Sikhs are the people who are wearing turban, but it's open to all. We are having Poles who are sitting with us, who are sharing our religious services, although sometimes it's difficult because it's always in the Punjabi language. They don't understand much of it, but they do sit with us. Last but not the least, we have the new temple which was established starting this year. It's called the Hindu Bhavan temple. It's very close to the Chinese center in the outskirts of Warsaw. Yes, close to a Chinese center. Because there are a lot of Indians also having the shops down there. So I can say this shows that even we are having only a community of 4,000, we feel at home, we achieved all this, and we are running these temples, organizations, and trying to make sure that we integrate with the Polish community and they can also see what the India is. But definitely there are the pitfalls. It's not that easy always. There are challenges facing both sides. Definitely what we discussed a moment ago, the biggest problem is, it's not the problem of Poland only, I think it's all over Europe still, that the Asia, and among them Indians also, are still seen as, I would use the word, the growing countries or the growing markets. They are still seen as a sort of a threat. I can understand that because there are a lot of illegal immigration also still in Europe from the Indian side, but there are ways to curb it. We face on the daily basis the problems where we have the serious business people or the staff who is working in the Indian or the Polish company, they want to have their families stay with them and it's difficult to get the visas. We are working on that. We are having a continuous dialogue with the Polish government, but it's also going on the other side. What I mean, we know right now the future is in Asia. I would use the term Asia, not only India. It's in China, it's in India, it's all over Asia. There are a lot of Polish nationals who are seeking jobs in India. There are a lot of Indian companies which wants to employ a Polish national, but because of the visa regime from the Polish side, it's always a bit difficult for the Poles also to obtain the visas to go to India. We are doing our best. Our new ambassador is working hard to curb this issue and to make sure that the flow is good, the exchange of people which is most important. Governments can talk on their level. But the flow of people is very important because that's what actually builds up the relation. When I'm speaking this on this subject, we are doing our best to make business also grow. We are having the next delegation with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs visiting India starting from 5th of November till 9th of November, where we are having at least 20 strong Polish companies who are interested in doing business with India. We are going to have the India Incredible Tourism Fair in December, where we're going to promote India among the tour operators, among the Polish tour operators and the Polish nationals. I think this will make a difference. It's all about people, it's all about relationship, it's all about respect. Taking this, I thank you everyone for listening to me. Dhanyavad.